Hey y'all, it's me. This video is kind of an eye-opener, especially for me, but it may be an eye-opener for other women like me, other men, other people, period. A lot of times we think that we may be doing all the right things and wondering why we're still struggling in terms of weight loss. And I am definitely one of those people. It's very hard for me to lose weight. A lot of times I'll lose, a pound here, a pound there, or whatever, and then before I know it, that pound is back. Or sometimes I'll go for weeks and I won't lose anything at all. Most times my body, I lose a lot of inches. And like I said, but more often than not, the weight doesn't really move. And so I always feel like I eat a lot. I joke in a lot of my videos, I'm so greedy. Oh, I'm greedy, da 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 da. And I am. But apparently I'm not greedy enough because, and I say this because these are actually some results that I just received back. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, like I was saying, I apparently I'm not eating enough. As a matter of fact, I was told that I'm starving myself. Yeah, which really shocked me, and I kind of looked at the test administrator crazy when she said that. But basically, these are my results. We were tested. They came out to our school, the National Metabolic Testing Services. They came out to our school, and they actually bought their metabolic analyzers with them in order to test our resting metabolic rate. And the accuracy of this testing is supposed to be within 2% of our real baseline resting metabolic rate, and it's the rate that they would get if we were to actually go to a facility for direct calorimetry testing. They would have you fast for like 8 hours or something like that, and then they will record your results while you were sleeping. However, this one is the next closest thing where you're actually hooked up to the machines, and you do have to fast, and we did have to fast. We were forewarned about this testing about 3 or 4 days in advance, and so you signed up for your time. I'm sorry, y'all. So you sign up for your time in advance, so you know how many hours you have, how much of an hour window you have before you can eat. And so they want your system at least 4 hours clean, but if that's the minimum. So most of us fasted overnight. We came to class and everybody's hungry and grouchy. You can't have no coffee, no caffeine, no anything with calories in your system. And what they do is they obtain the CO2, the gases, and they analyze these gases to get your results. Very interesting to me, extremely interesting. I was tempted to call the testing administrator a liar to her face. And, I did, but I didn't, because I told her what she was telling me was impossible. However, this lady's been doing this for years. I do believe she's a registered dietitian. I'm not really sure. But she is an independent contractor for the facility. And so, she was explaining the process, and you sit in one chair. So you're sitting in one chair, my ass is in this chair, and she's over here telling you what to do. And then you put your feet up in this other chair, and then they give you this nose clip because the only oxygen that they want you to get is through your mouth. That's it. And so you're breathing it through this tube. So they put, everybody get this new piece that they put on that we have to breathe into. And, it's kind of messy, and it's cute, because she forewarned you. She was like, this is not a glamorous test at all. You will have that nose clip on and you will drool. And so we're looking at her like, huh? And she was like, everybody gives me that look, sweetie. She's like, it's okay. She was like, if you got to drool, you got to drool. So she has little tissues right there, whatever. Testing itself Takes about 15 minutes. I think 3 minutes is for the system to get used to your breathing, and she tells you whether or not you're breathing in hard enough. I think your out breath has to be twice as long as your in breath so that the system can read it, and da 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 da. Long story short, when she got my results, before she got my results, she asked me, do you know about how much you eat on a daily basis? And of course I know how much I eat. You know, I use my Fitness Pal. If I'm not using my Fitness Pal, I'm still writing down my calories for the most part. And she was like, oh, you're going to be very easy to assess since you know almost exactly what you eat. And when she saw my results and compared to what I eat, she was like, you're starving yourself. And I'm like, huh? You know, like, that's impossible. I was like, I eat a lot. I was like, I eat 4 to 5 times a day and yada, yada, yada. And she was like, and that's great. You may be eating 4 to 5 times a day, maybe, and sometimes I eat 6 times a day. You know, it just depends. She was like, but you're not eating enough within those meals for your resting metabolic rate. This thing, and it's crazy because it's sky high. And I'm like, you know, this is the resting metabolic rate is basically the amount of calories that you will burn if you did absolutely nothing all day. If I sat on my ass all day, I'm going to burn 2,362 calories. That's if I sat on my ass all day. The problem with that is I don't sit on my ass all day. I work out a lot. And you have to fill out the screening sheet. Not this sheet, but there's a screening sheet that you fill out beforehand. That information is tabulated and entered into the system. And then a comparison is done with what you eat. And it also factors into this result. But just alone, without being factored into this results, alone, my resting energy expenditure is 2,362 calories. Huge. However, this calibrates exercise up to 30 minutes a day at moderate physical activity level, you know, 3 to 5 times a week. I'm more than that, and that's where the problem comes in. I work out 4 to 5 times a week for at least, for 2, sometimes 3 hours a day. And that's where the problem comes in because I'm burning so many calories when I do that. In addition, I'm not even eating the minimum, which is I'm supposed to eat at least 2,362 calories a day, which is kind of like, that's too much. You know, in my head, that's too much. This is what I'm telling myself. This is what I've always told myself. Like, you know, usually when you look at the back of products, it says, you know, this is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. I never eat that much. You know, maybe, and I knew I needed to increase my calorie intake, so I did bump it up sometimes to about 1,700, maybe 1,800. That's still not enough. I have to eat at least this minimum because according to this, now this isn't fully accurate, and I'm going to tell you why because she explained it to me. According to this, the total energy output that I have is 3,365 calories. That's 1,000 more than my RMR alone. That includes my RMR, my lifestyle, and my exercise. Now, like I said, they only account for 30 minutes of moderate exercise. But in a Zumba, y'all know I'm a Zumba nut. And in Zumba, I can easily burn 700 to 1,000 calories or whatever. And that doesn't include when I'm walking on the treadmill or if I'm doing the elliptical, or sometimes I might even do some strength training in there, which I have to make another video about trying to compare apples and oranges, doing those two. I'll go to another video on that. Long story short, she's telling me that it's so hard for me to lose weight because my body is trying to hang on to every single thing that I eat because I'm not feeding it enough for, one, my resting metabolic rate. And you're supposed to at least eat your resting metabolic rate. A lot of people eat more than that because they lead sedentary lifestyles. You don't get up, you don't work out, you don't move around, you just do your basic day-to-day living. So you're probably eating more. A lot of people drink their calories out. I rarely drink anything other than water. Like, it's rare. I have my fuck up days, but they're rare. So I'm very conscious of what I'm eating. And so, again, what she's telling me I'm going to have to do in order to get my body on the right track and to process things properly is I'm going to have to eat at least, because I have over here they put what you burn, and then they have another section that says how much you eat. And in the weight loss zone, I can eat anywhere from 1,890 calories to 2,362 calories. Again, this is based off of moderate exercise, so I should eat more than that. But she saw how uncomfortable I was, with her telling me to eat so much and things like that. And, she was like, that's normal. And what's funny is the very next day, this is structured with my nutrition for sports and exercise class. For those that don't know, I am in school for dietetics and nutrition. And the nutrition field is so in-depth. It's a whole lot more to it than just telling somebody, okay, what you should eat and things like that. Like, it's actually a science. So there's a science behind it that a lot of people really don't know or really don't pay attention to. So the RMR, the testing that we had yesterday, kind of correlates into what we're doing now, because we have to do a nutrition care plan on these fictional sports athletes. And we have to structure a plan for them based off what it is they're trying to do, based off of their sport, based off their caloric intake, yada yada yada. So that was done first. What we had to do, that was done because we had to do a lab on ourselves to get us used to what we're going to be doing for our fictional characters. Anyway, she's telling me that in order to achieve my fitness goals, and I told her what numeric goal I'm trying to get to, and that's my problem. I harp on numeric goals a lot, because I just want to get to certain numbers. I know you shouldn't pay so much attention to the scale, but this is just for me mentally. I want to get to certain numbers. I know those numbers are going to go in the opposite direction once I start back strength training, and I'm going to tell you why I postponed that. She's saying to get to where I'm trying to get to, based off of my current physical level, if I eat a minimum of 2,000 calories a day, and she wrote it out for me and everything. This is her handwriting. I know y'all can't see this too close or whatever, but I don't want to put this too close because I got a whole bunch of my information on here. So she was like, eat a minimum of 2,000 calories a day. Continue working out as you're working out. In 14 weeks, you will be at your target goal. She was like, so for the next few weeks, that scale is going to go up. And I was looking at her crazy when she said that, because y'all already know I was in my challenge. And granted, my 40 and 10 challenge, it probably was a bit ambitious for me. I knew this. I said this in the beginning. I probably got like 14 of those pounds off or whatever. And I still had like maybe 3 weeks. So we know I wasn't going to get to 40 pounds from 14 in 3 weeks. Granted. But she was like, that scale is going to go up, because now you got to train your system to eat the right amount. So she was like, for the next few weeks, your scale is going to go up. She's like, don't worry, don't trip, that's fine. However, once your body gets used to what it is that you're doing now and gets on the right track, then you'll see it go in the other direction. She's like, you're always going to be hungry once you start feeding yourself properly, and then you'll see the numbers going down in the direction that you want them to. So, with that being said, I'm going to try to take this lady's advice. It's hard for me. It's really hard because I know how I am, and I always felt like I ate a lot. I ate a lot. I eat so much. No. I eat probably close to the right amount of times, but I'm not eating enough. And, we actually had a bodybuilder in our class where he used to do natural bodybuilding. He came up and he gave us an example of how he eats. Now, granted, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder at all, but he gave us an example of how he eats. And he wrote down, all these different times he was eating throughout the day. This boy eating like, I think last tally, because he forgot 2 meals. I think last tally he was like 10 meals a day. And I'm like, huh? And this is all throughout the day, from 5 a.m. all the way to 2 to 3 a.m. the following morning. This is how he's eating or whatever. And he was like, I was probably taking in about 4,000, 5,000 calories at least. And he was like, that's off season. On season is totally different. So for me to hear that I have to eat a minimum of 2,000 calories or whatever is kind of like, that's a lot, and that's the minimum I'm supposed to eat. At most, it's supposed to be about 2360, 2350, something like that. So I guess I gotta retrain my mind to eat the right amount of foods and don't trip too much when that scale goes up. That's just me. You know, Cindy, I have a personality called Cindy. I've never really introduced her too much, but Cindy is a scale whore, and she always has me on that scale, and you know, always has me stressing on the scale, and she's always in my head saying you need to pay more attention to the scale. And I know I shouldn't, but Cindy gets in my head, y'all. Y'all know about my personalities if you're used to my Pear Shaped Sister page. Anyway, let me wrap this up. I just wanted to bring that in because, you know, it was some fascinating results. If you ever have the opportunity to have your RMR actually tested via indirect calorimetry or direct calorimetry, I say go for it, because you'll be able to get a much more accurate measure of how much you should be eating, as opposed to just pulling out a number like 1,200 calories. You know, they were talking about that in class. A lot of people are starving themselves because they may be only doing 1,200 calories, but yet they're working out like horses or something like that. So you're really starving yourself, and that a lot of times leads to yo-yo dieting. You know, you may get the weight off, but guess what? Later on, it's going to come back because you haven't trained yourself to eat properly. So this is new for me. This is going to take me some time to get used to, but I am going to start trying to do it. Maybe I'll start next week, no later than 2 weeks out, and I'll keep y'all posted with how that goes. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.